Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Laura. This is the Last Minute Laura channel, and when you come here, you can usually find me making something or doing something crafty. Today, I am going to be making this Christmas stocking. I need another Christmas stocking for another family member, so we are going to do some granny squares in red and green and make a really cool stocking out of it. If you're interested in making this stocking too, or just want to watch me do it, then keep watching. So, first things first, you're going to need a 4mm crochet hook. Then you're going to need some yarn. I would say this is less than a worsted weight, but more than a sock weight, maybe a number 3 if you do that type of yarn counting. And you're also going to need a measuring tape or a ruler and some scissors, and you will need a yarn needle for weaving in your ends. So, collect your supplies and let's get started. So, to begin your granny square, you're going to need a slip knot. Next, chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to slip stitch into that first chain stitch that we did at the beginning there, to make our circle for the middle of our granny square. Now we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And now that counts as a double crochet. So from now on, count that as one of your double crochets. We are going to double crochet 2 times into the middle of that circle. Don't be fooled by that first stitch. Your circle is actually there. So we are going to do 2 double crochets into that circle. 1 and 2. And now we've got 3 double crochets in the circle. We're going to now do a chain of 2, 1 and 2. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets back into that same circle. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do another chain 2, 1 and 2. These chain 2s are representing your corners. So we've got 2 sides of our square finished now. We're going to do 3 more double crochets into the center. 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to chain 2 more times, 1 and 2. And then we are going to double crochet 3 more times into that middle. Now you can pull on your tail from the initial stitches, and that will close up the circle so that you don't have a big hole in the middle. Now we're going to do 2 more chains because we still need 1 more corner here. 1 and 2. And then we're going to attach to that first chain 3. We're going to attach at the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch. And now you can see we've got a square. Well, it's not quite a square just yet, but it will be. Now let's get on to round number 2. We're going to start with a chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And now we're going to work into that chain 2 space. So this big hole here, we're going to put 2 more double crochets, 1 and 2. And now we're in a corner, so we're going to make another corner, which is chain 2. And then 3 more double crochets into that same corner. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, here's where we start a new thing. So we're not at a corner right now. We're going to be moving across, but we're not in a corner, we're moving to a corner. So we're not going to do a chain 2 here because we don't need to create a new corner. We're just going to do a chain 1. And now we're going to do 3 double crochets into that next corner. 1, 2, 3. And since we're in a corner now, we're going to do chain 2, 1 and 2. And then back into that same corner, we're going to do 3 more double crochets. And now again, we're going to be moving to a corner, but we don't want to create a corner. So we're going to just do a chain 1 next, and then 3 double crochets into that corner, that chain 2 space. And since we're in a corner now, next we're going to do a chain 2, 1 and 2. And then we're going to do 3 more double crochets into that corner. You can see the square shape is starting to show up now. You can tell a lot more that this is turning into a square for sure. Okay, now we're not working in a corner, we're working to get ourselves to the corner, so we're just going to do a chain 1. And now in our last corner here, we're going to do 3 double crochets, and then chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in the same hole. So that's something you're going to remember for every single corner. Every time you come to a corner, you're going to do 3 double crochets in that corner space, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets in that corner space. All right, and now we need to connect a straight edge. Where we started, we had that chain 3, so we're going to do a chain 1 because we're not at a corner, and then we're going to slip stitch to the top of that chain 3 to join the round. Now you can start to see for sure a bit of a square forming. And what we're going to do now for round number 3, we're going to start with a chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. We'll turn the work around, and we're going to work now into this chain 1 space. We're going to do 2 more double crochets, because remember, that chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet. So we're going to do 2 more double crochets in that space. And then we're going to chain 1, because we're not in a corner right now. And then we are going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets into this corner stitch. There we go. Now we are going to do a chain 1 because we're not at a corner again. This is the rule. If you're not in a corner, you're doing a chain 1 between each grouping of 3 double crochets. If you're in a corner, then you're going to do a chain 2 there. So chain 1, and then in this space here, this chain 1 space, we're going to do 3 double crochets. And then we're at another corner, so we're going to do 1 chain stitch to get us to that corner area. And then we're going to do 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. And I think that you probably get the hang of it from here. We are going to just keep working around in this way. Chain 2 at the corner, and chain 1 if you're working across. But we're putting 3 double crochets in at a time between each of those little spaces. And that's why we've got this cute little square pattern coming out. I'm at that middle again. I'll get us all the way around on this row and then talk us through how to get up to the next row, and we'll figure that out together. All right, now chain 1 again. Now I'm going to be working in a corner, so that means 3 double crochet stitches, chain 2, and then 3 double crochet stitches. If you don't know how to do a double crochet stitch, if you're new to crochet, I will link the tutorial for how to do a double crochet so that you can learn how to do that before getting into this, and hopefully that'll help you out with any questions you might have. But if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We've got a really nice community here, and if I can't answer your question, somebody in there definitely will be able to. And chain 1. Okay, now I'm at my last corner in this round. So I'm going to do double crochets, 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and then a chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 more double crochets. And now we want to meet up with our original chain 3 there, so we're going to do a chain 1 because it's not at a corner, and then we're going to slip stitch at the top of that chain 3 to join. Now you can see for sure that square shape coming up. So just like the last row, we're going to start with a chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to turn the work because we always want to be working into a hole. From this point on, we're going to be doing the exact same thing. We're going to do a total of 6 rounds like this. So right now we have 1, 2, 3 rounds. We're going to do a total of 6 rounds. And I'm going to zoom through that part because I think from here you've probably got the hang of the instructions. I mean, I hope so. So I'm going to zoom through this part where I finished the last 3 rounds because that's how many. We're doing 6. And when I get back to the end to the 6th round, I will show you what we're going to do next. And hey, if written patterns are more your thing, well, written bullet journal spreads anyway, definitely check out the links in the description. There's a link to my Patreon, and if you join my Patreon, you get access to all of my bullet journal spreads, and that might be helpful for you. If that sounds like something you'd like, definitely pop down there in the links. Also, if you join my Patreon, you will get access to an awesome community through our Discord server. It's basically a private chat room where we show off what we're making, we talk about projects that we're working on, we plan our lives. We have a really good time. It's a great community full of really supportive, awesome, artsy people, and I would love to have you there. So if that sounds up your alley, then definitely check it out. Links in the description. Okay, so I just finished, right? 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good, I got my 6 rows. Gosh, had to double count there. So you're gonna wanna do 6 rows, and then you can cut your yarn, secure off. If you are someone who likes to weave your ends in right away, then you can weave your ends in right away. I did that for my other squares, but guess what? That's it. You just have to do that. But you have to do it 20 times. So that's kind of a bummer. Let's do some measurements. So I did them in red and green. I just showed you one, but I made a whole bunch of other ones. So the measurements for these squares is about 5 inches across by 5 inches across. It's a square, so it should be 5 by 5. That's what you're looking for. If your tension is tighter or your yarn is fatter or something is different, just make a 5 by 5 square. If that only takes you a couple of rounds, fine. If it takes you more rounds, fine. But for me, it was 6 rounds using a 4mm hook with a probably a number 3 weight yarn. So now that I've got that all done, let's get into the actual making portion of this because that's the fun part. Let's be honest, the granny square's great. The fun is having it all put together. All right, so here's what my plan is. I thought, as you can see in my drawing, we could do kind of some checkerboard patterns. I had 2 different colors of green and I like them both. I made 5 in the emerald green and then 5 in the pale green, let's call it that. And then I've got 10 red ones. So we're going to start like this, I think. This is what I'm thinking. We do bright green here, pale green there. And then we'll go like that, and we'll have a bright green there. And it's going to be 4 tall by 4 tall by 3 wide. But first, we have to figure out what we're going to put it together with. I think we should use some white yarn to put them together. So let me figure this out first. Well, no, we know that every single red is going to be with a green. So what we can do is we can sew or crochet. I think I'm going to crochet a red to a green. It doesn't matter which green because eventually they're all going to be 1 red to 1 green, right? So I'm going to grab a Am I going to do a sewing needle or a crochet? What am I going to do here? I think I might do a blanket stitch. Let me get some white yarn. I think that would be cute. Okay, I'm back with the white yarn. So we're going to start by matching up green squares with red squares. It doesn't matter which green squares, doesn't matter which red squares. And what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to blanket stitch them together. I think that's probably going to give me the easiest time. Famous last words. Hopefully I'm right. I'm going to get a nice long piece, and I'm going to take my yarn needle, and I'm going to have it be double. I want it double strands because I want it to be nice and thick in our sewing here. So let's get started. So I've got these two squares lined up. I'm going to find the corner of that square. You know how it's a chain 2? Well, the first chain of that chain 2 I'm going to grab, and then the first chain of that chain 2 on the other piece I'm going to grab. And don't tie knots in your crochet. It's not pretty, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to tie a knot because I don't want this to fall out. Cut it short enough. And then I'm going to hide it underneath my first stitch. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this entire square. I'm going to put my needle through the stitch on both pieces of fabric, and then I'm going to bring my needle back down through that loop to create, well, let's get this tucked under there, to create a blanket stitch. I think that'll look cute if we do that on every stitch across. So I'm going to keep going all the way down. So go through both stitches and then put the needle back through that loop, creating a nice little blanket stitch. And this is going to connect the two pieces in a cute way that leaves a nice little seam, which I think will be cute on the final project to have white seams on the whole thing. But yeah, it's going to take a little bit of time, this part, because there are a lot of little stitches. So there's going to be a lot of little blanket stitches. But just move along. You can do single crochets if you're more comfortable with that than you are with doing this this way. You could definitely do single crochets or slip stitches, or sew however your heart desires. You just got to get these pieces together in groups of 1 red to 1 green. This is just how I'm choosing to do it. I don't think there's a wrong way, though. Okay, so now I'm at that last stitch for this duo piece here. I'm not going to tie it off, but I want to show you. So now you can see the seam will be this nice clean white line of blanket stitches, which I think will look cute with the whole thing patched together with a white line between them. And then we could do some finishing stitches on the final stocking once we've put it all together. So we're going to keep going like this. I think what I could do though is just grab a reverse, right? And just fold that up right along next to this first one. Yeah, that should work. And then I'll just grab the chain, the first chain on this corner and the first chain on this corner. We'll just pull them together. And I think that this may work. And that will be our connector. Now, same thing with this. We're going to just keep moving down the piece, stitch by stitch, connecting them with these little blanket stitches. And then I think I'm going to just keep going. I think I'm just going to keep piecing together down this length. I know I need to make it 4 squares long, so I'll do this long seam here, and then the next thing I'll do will be another one of those, and then the next thing I do will be another one of those. So I'm going to just stitch down like that, and I think that will be a good way to start. Then we'll have these seams to do next. I think this is a good idea. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so the first seam here is done. Let me see if I can... So there it is. Our first bit of the stocking is now working. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take each of these. I probably should have just done them individually, but I didn't. Whatever, it's fine. So now I'm gonna take each of these and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna line up the corners, line them up, line everything all the way up, and then I'm gonna do blanket stitches across these seams now. That's going to take a while, and it's the exact same process that I used for this long seam. I'm just going to do a blanket stitch. So I'm going to just zoom through this because it's not going to be very interesting. But once I finish the four, the like 1, 2, 3, 4, once I finish that, I'll come back and I will show you what it's looking like and what the next steps are going to be. Okay, so I have, oh, I can take these off now. We went outside for a walk with Thunder. And now I'm back to here. I have now gotten the first piece put together. It took, oh my gosh, way longer than I thought to sew this together. If I were to do it again, I would say probably just crochet it together because sewing it together with a blanket stitch takes so much time. But now I'm going to do it again because you need one front and one back for the stockings. You need to have a front and a back. So I'm going to do the whole thing again with all of these squares. And that will be the body portion of the sock, of the stocking. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll come back in 4 years when this is all sewn together. But for you, it'll just be like... Okay, so it's the next day now, and I sewed together all of the pieces into a rectangle twice. So here's the second piece. And with the squares that were left, which was 4, I sewed them together like that. So you're going to want to have 2 rectangles that have 8 squares each, and then 1 square that has 4 squares. Now we have to put the whole thing together. First, I'm going to fold this in half, and this is going to represent the toe on the final stocking. You can't see the whole thing if I put it this way, but imagine looking at it that way. It's like a big sock. Here will be open, and this whole area will all be stitched closed. So that means first we have to attach the rectangle to the square on both sides. So let's start there. I'm going to do this part in blanket stitches just like we did for putting the individual squares together. The final part though, where we're going to be closing up the outside of the entire stocking, I think I might do some single crochets there, but we'll see when we get there what works best. For now, I am going to sew this piece to the square piece to the rectangle piece, and then I'm going to sew the other rectangle piece to this side over here of the square piece. I hope that makes sense. I hope you understand. And now I'm just gonna zoom through this doing blanket stitches until that job is done. So please enjoy some zoomed up hand sewing. And hey, if you haven't yet, don't forget to click the like button. Go ahead, click it. I'll wait. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. I put out new videos every Tuesday for the most part, earlier for members, And I also live stream Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. So if you come here any day of the week, you're gonna get something. So definitely subscribe. All right, we are almost done here with sewing together these squares before it becomes a stocking. All right, there we go. And I'm just gonna weave that end in. Then I'm gonna trim that, and there we go. Now we have this big letter U, a big letter C, a big bunch of rectangles. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold it on itself, just like that. And now it's time to turn this into a stocking. And I'm gonna do that by doing some crochet. I think crochet is going to be a nice way to finish the outside edge of this whole stocking. So I'm gonna start here at this bottom edge here. I'm gonna use my 4mm hook, which is what I've been using for the whole project so far. And I'm going to start by bringing up a loop into that corner, that big corner stitch. See right there? I'm gonna pull up a loop right there, and then I'm gonna chain one and pull it down really tight. And then I'll hide my tail by holding it while I work. And now I'm going to put one single crochet through both pieces of fabric in the first stitch, which is right there. One single crochet. And then I'm going to do that in each stitch across. And when I get to those chain one spaces between the sets of 3 double crochets, I'm going to just put one single crochet in that chain space. So here we are on that 3rd stitch. Single crochet. And now I'm at the chain 1. I'm just gonna put it through the whole chain 1. I'm not gonna try and get it into the actual chain. That's just too much work. And then we're gonna keep moving across the entire bottom of the stocking. We are going to do a little bit of single crochet to put this thing together. So I'm just going to zoom through this because I think that you probably get the hang of it, right? We're gonna single crochet this together all the way around. We're gonna go all the way across here, and then we're gonna go all the way up here. And I will meet you when we get back to this corner over here because this corner is where we're gonna have to do something a little different. Alrighty, I've made it up to the top of my stocking. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chain one and pull it really nice and tight down there. And now I'm not gonna go through both layers. I'm just gonna go through one layer of the stocking here. And I'm just gonna slip stitch across. I'm not trying to put it together at this point. I'm not trying to do anything decorative right now. I'm just trying to get my yarn across. You could cut your yarn and just reattach it at the other side, but I'm gonna just do it this way because I don't want to cut my yarn. That's the whole reason. I feel like it would have been smarter to start at a different point in the stocking than I did, but that's all right. You live, you learn. All right, there I made it to the end of the top there. So now I can put these two pieces back together. See, so I only went across one, and now I can reconnect by putting my hook through the corner and then pulling the loop through so that now I'm working with both pieces again. And now what I'm going to do is single crochet down this end to the corner and then single crochet down this end. This end has already been blanket stitched together, so we don't have to do that. But I am going to start with those single crochets. And there we go. So now that is together. the bottom is already secured together with slip stitches, or sorry, with blanket stitches. So now I can cut my yarn, tie it off. Very happy about that. And now it's time to do our finishing stitches. So if you didn't like having all the seams on the outside, that's okay. At this point, you can flip it inside out, and then you have these clean little white seams. I actually kind of like how neat these ones look. What do you think? Let me just get the whole thing open first. That's actually kind of really neat and pretty. Having the seams, look up close, you can see like the lines of the blanket stitches. Isn't that kind of pretty? I kind of like that better than I thought I really liked the open seam, but now I'm thinking I like the closed seam. I didn't think that would happen. Yeah, I like this look. It's so pretty when it's turned out. So now all that's left is doing the decorative stitches around the top. And as you can see, that row of slip stitches isn't a problem here. So I'm going to attach at the back because I want in the end to have a little tag to hang the stocking by the fire. So I'm going to start just before the seam here. I'm going to pull up a loop and then chain one, and I'm going to start by single crocheting all the way around. I'm going to single crochet one time in each stitch around, and when you get back around to the beginning, also whenever you get to a chain one, just put a single crochet in that big chain one space. But when you get back around to the first stitch, join with a slip stitch and chain one, and I will meet you when I finish my round, and I will show you what we're going to do next. All right, there we are at the end of the first round. I'm going to slip stitch together, like I said, and now I'm going to chain up one, and now I'm going to do a row where it is single crochet again. This is just going to create a really nice finish around the entire project. So single crochet around the entire round again. It'll be a lot easier than that first round. And when you get to the end, slip stitch together to close the round. And then we're going to do something a little different for the next row for a finishing stitch. So just single crochet around, and I will meet you when we get to the other end. All right, I'm just making it around the last few stitches of the round here. And this stocking is looking really cute. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of obsessed. I think it is adorable. But we still need to do something to finish off the edge. I feel like the edge just doesn't have enough zing for me. I want it to be like ruffled or something. I don't think it's good enough just as is. You could leave it as is at this point, but I think we should do a ruffle. So to do a ruffle, we are going to be putting more than one stitch in each stitch around. That's basically how you make a ruffle. So we'll join the round with a slip stitch, chain up, I think 3, because I think I'll do double crochets. And now in each stitch, all the way around, I'm going to put 3 double crochets. So that's 1, that chain 3 counts as 1 double crochet to start. There's my number 2 double crochet, and then number 3 double crochet. And now we'll move to the second single crochet stitch and put 3 double crochets in there. And I'm gonna do that all the way around, and that should give us a little bit more body, I wanna say, to the stocking. And again, it's just a repeat of doing 3 double crochets in each stitch, so I will see you when I make it all the way around. Okie dokie, I am almost done my round of double crochets, and I think that's gonna be it. I think it looks really cute. So let me just finish up these last couple of stitches. Then we're gonna create the little hangy thing so that you can hang it from the fireplace. All right, now I'm gonna slip stitch to join And then I am going to chain 20. 1, 2, 3, 19, and 20. And now I'm going to reattach that chain with a slip stitch down in that exact same spot. So I'm going to put my hook in, maybe I'll put my hook in right at the base of that chain, then pull a loop through. There we go. And then I can pull my hook through like that, trim my yarn, and then I will weave my end. You can see now there's this little tickety tag on the end. I'm going to get my yarn needle and weave that end right in, and then let me show you what we've got. Okie dokie, what do you think? I'm kind of obsessed. I think this turned out so cute. So it's got a little ruffle on the top just for finishing, and then it's got this little hanging bit so that you can hang it on the fireplace mantle. And then it's huge, so you can fill it full of goodies. It'll be great for whoever you need to make a stocking for. I mean, it's gigantic, so be advised that it's huge. If you want to make it smaller, you could make smaller granny squares. Maybe only do 1, 2, 3 rounds, and then you'll end up with a bit more of a manageable stocking size. I think we went a little overboard with how big this stocking is, but I love that. My family's stockings at Christmas are all pretty big and handmade by my grandma, so this will be a fun addition for some new family members. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below how you feel about this super cute stocking. I love it. I love the details of it. I think the ruffle adds such a cute little finish. I love that the checkers change from light green to dark green back to light green. I think that is just so cute. And both sides do it. It's very, very cute. So if you liked it, let me know by clicking the thumbs up button. Let me know by clicking the like button. And let me know what you'd like to see next. Also, thank you so much to my patrons. I really appreciate all of you supporting me on Patreon. I would love to invite anyone who is not currently supporting me on Patreon to jump on into the description, check the links, and join my Patreon. You'll get access to all of my written bullet journal spreads. I give these out when the videos come out. You also get early access to the tutorial videos, and you get access to the awesome Discord, which is a great community of makers and fun folks who are great to chat to. So yeah, check out the link, join my Patreon, and I'll see you next time. So have a great rest of your day, and Merry Christmas. Bye!